Hey guys, welcome back to the Vanity podcast. This is the 7th episode, and I have gotten better equipment. The sound should sound a lot better this episode, as we have more mics and an actual, equipment.
Yeah, these mics hopefully make us sound real good.
Yeah,
compared
real
to
crisp.
whatever
That's
we
the
had
hope.
before.
Yeah, because what we had before was janky.
One Yeti mic.
Yeah, one
Yeti Mini.
Yeah, so actually, I have a thing to talk about the Yeti, but before that, I'm going to introduce you guys. Connor.
Hi, I'm Connor. I'm back.
Indeed, he was on the last episode before he had to leave.
Hell yeah.
Hello, I am Amal. I am recovering from something, so if I cough violently in your ear, it's not my fault.
Yes.
Probably.
Hello, this is James. Been here a couple times. Murdered children.
Yes, the man who murders children. As a joke,
Allegedly.
I will say that as a joke.
Yeah.
For legal
Allegedly.
reasons,
legal
that is
reasons,
a
that's
joke. And so, anyway, about the Yeti thing, I was gonna, you mentioned Yeti, and I saw I think it was yesterday, I saw an ad. They have a new mic. It's
Yeah, I
the
saw.
Yeti Max X or something like that. Or the Yeti X.
It's supposed to be. Is it their first XLR? I think.
Or
is it
I
still
think
USB?
it's still USB. But they say that it's the quality of it is.
Well,
of
that's
an
what they say
XLR.
with all of them. And
Yeah.
I
So I don't know.
Not that there's anything wrong with Yetis. I mean, I use a Yeti and it's fine. But
yeah.
you know,
I looked at it and there's a lot more control that you have over
That's
the
good, at
mic
least.
than what the old ones had. But yeah, I don't know if it's worth the price. I think
How much is it going?
I think
for?
it was $140.
That's not terrible.
It's
I mean,
not. It really isn't that bad because I think the mini was $99.
well, and my because I got the Yeti Studio,
Mm.
I think, and I got it off Amazon for $129, but it
Oh,
came
really?
with pop filter stand
Oh,
and
gotcha.
and a pair of headphones.
Gotcha.
But so I don't know what all that price includes for the whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think
New
it's
one.
just the mic for that one, but I'm not sure. I'll have to look into
Right,
it more.
maybe if it sounds good.
But how was your guys' day?
My day has been alright. Like I said, recovering from a cold, I'm going to assume is probably what it was. I'm going to hope it wasn't some new disease that almost ended my life.
Yeah, let's.
It
Like
certainly
swine
felt
flu.
that. Swine flu I actually did catch when it was super deadly back in 2013 or whatever it was.
I remember because I wasn't on that one, but I was listening to it in my car, and you were like, "Yeah, I got swine flu," and I was fucking driving. I'm like, "Excuse me, what? What the fuck?"
Yeah, no. That was a fun time.
So you almost died then.
I almost died back then, and luckily my immune system was strong enough that it didn't kill me.
Did you
So,
go to that hospital where you just tough it out?
I think we went to the doctor's office, and I think the doctor recommended that I go to the hospital, but I genuinely do not remember what happened after that. But
Swine flu will do that to you, I guess.
You just passed out.
It's not
You
that I-
woke up in your grave. They
Yeah.
were already putting the dirt down there, and you're like, "Wait,
You're
wait,
banging on the coffin, just
I'm alive."
dude, being buried alive is probably one of my worst fears because I don't have any kind of necessarily big fears when it comes to stuff, but it's claustrophobia isn't a thing that I have. I'm okay with being in tight spaces. It's just being down there, knowing you're going to die, even though you really
Yeah.
shouldn't be dying.
Yeah,
That's what's messed up to me. It's how many people have died in that situation where they've accidentally been buried alive.
enough where they had to put the bell system in.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're
I know
like-
that there's actually one case, because I went to the UK over the summer, and we were in Ireland, I think, and we were I think we were touring Dublin, and it was Scotland. That's what it was, and I don't remember which part of Scotland, but we were touring the city, and there was this story where this woman was tried for being a witch, and she wasn't. Obviously, witches don't really exist, but
we don't
they
know
but
Where's the proof?
they hung her, and it didn't kill her. It just made her go unconscious, and they buried her.
Oh,
And she woke up and managed to get out. And because she was already tried
As a witch.
tried
So now
and
she
hung,
is a
and
witch.
she was condemned to death, she had already died, and she got to walk free
Oh,
because
Nice.
they couldn't try someone
who was
who was
technically
already dead.
Dude, how much of a fucking badass do you have to be?
Yeah.
Your title is so much higher than anyone else's in
Yeah.
that town.
But yeah,
Like
that's a
you can
fucking
kick
true story.
everybody out. You could
Yeah.
probably spook
Like-
them by just pointing at them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They
Like-
literally, like, part of the tour was they took us to the square where the gallows were. And they were like, this is where they hung her, and yeah, she lived. And since they already condemned her to death and she technically died, they couldn't try her again.
Dude,
She
Nice.
lived a life.
that's so cool.
That's
amazing.
epic. That's an epic gamer move
I
right
know.
there.
She was like,
She just
watch
clicked the
this.
respawn button.
And one of the coolest parts about being in that city, and goddamn, I can't remember which one it was, and I really wish I could. There was, for lack of a better terms, a haunted house that we went to, and it was essentially a bunch of actors in there, and they would take you through, like, you would start on the first level, and it would go down like 8 or so levels as you progressed, and they walked you through everything of unfair trial where you're all in a courtroom and one guy is sentencing you to death for stuff that you obviously didn't do and that he was making up. The next was witnessing the execution of a witch, and then being sent to go investigate some cannibals, like,
Oh.
because there was a real life story about a group of cannibals that were like rampaging the city, and it was
As
just
they do.
and it all ended with you essentially went on kind of similar to like Superman ride from Six Flags, where you like go up and it drops you.
Oh, okay.
But you only went up about 15 feet. But that drop, it drops
Like
you and
instant.
accelerates you down.
Oh,
And they
God.
don't tell you when it's going to happen. And they
Nice.
take a picture right when it drops. And my family bought the picture because it was really funny. Because my mom's screaming, my sister has her eyes closed and screaming, my dad is screaming, and then I'm just smiling. 'Cause I'm like, yeah, this is fun.
As you do. No, that reminds me of well, I can't even remember what it's called. The Tower of Terror.
Oh,
Yeah.
Disney World.
Although the
I
Tower
love
of
that
Terror,
ride.
because I've been to Disney World a few times,
Yeah.
so after like the first time on the Tower of Terror, I just looked around and I was like, man, this all is stupid.
No, I can.
I
totally
really
do it.
like it because my dad my dad raised me on the Twilight Zone, so like all that stuff is really cool to me.
Yeah.
and I like horror and whatnot, so I'm
Nice.
like, I like the atmosphere.
What's
Yeah.
I'm with
what's
my
really
people.
cool with that is whenever you go up and then it moves you forward.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you're like moving through the hotel instead of like up or down. But yeah, whenever you get to the very top and it like opens up the windows,
Yeah.
and you just like you see how high up you are,
And you're like,
oh
fuck.
shit.
Also,
What
did
was-
Disney World ever go through, or is it still Disneyland that transformed it into the Guardians ride?
I
I
think
don't
they were
remember.
trying to.
Because I know that Disneyland has the Guardians one
Yeah.
instead of the Tower of Terror. I don't know if World has switched over.
I'm not sure. I heard that they were going to change it to the Guardians one, but I don't know if they did or not. I know they are working on their own Marvel Land though, with all the like
Oh.
Marvel rides, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Because I go to Disney World or I don't now, but I used to go all the time.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
all the time.
Yeah.
And so but they never introduced anything new.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only thing that was technically new anytime I went was the Harry Potter stuff. Oh wait,
Dude,
that
that's
was
Harry
Universal.
Potter stuff.
that's Universal. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't even
Universal
remember what the
Studios.
last Harry Potter or
I think the
Disney World
last
thing
new
is.
thing they added prior to like the Star Wars stuff was Pixar Land.
that.
And that was a
yes.
long time ago because they added like one of my favorite rides, the Toy Story arcade shooter ride.
Oh, okay,
Where you're in
yeah.
the cars and you have the plunger that you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
shoot,
Which was so long
in like
ago.
essentially a bunch of different arcade games. Oh my god, my my senior year in high school, the band took a trip to Disney. And which was really cool because we actually got to go to like in the back of Epcot they have their sound studios where they record like music for Disney films, and they basically sat us in a recording room, gave us all like books of music and said, okay, let's learn how to play Under the Sea. We're going to look over it for about 15 minutes and then we're going to play it, we're going to record it, and then we're going to play it as stuff is playing in the background.
Oh, nice.
One of the coolest experiences of my life.
That's so cool.
But we were in God, what is it? Hollywood Studios that has the Toy Story stuff. And I'm sitting with my friend Sean, and we're doing it, and you just go back. I know that this is not a podcast, so you guys can't see, but I'm going back and forth with my hand really quickly because that's how you have to pull that plunger. my entire arm started atrophying about 5 minutes in,
Oh,
and I
God.
was pushing through the pain the entire time.
You're like, I'm
I
gonna win
was
this,
sore
damn
for
it.
the next day. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, no. I think like they had added a ride, like it like literally just opened up while I was there. And I couldn't ride it because
Too short.
it was the line was it was too short. No, the
No, I say you're too short. They didn't
Oh,
let you on the
well,
ride.
yeah,
Wait, do you,
no,
do you
I was
remember
too
like
short.
how long ago it was?
It was about probably 3 years ago, I
3
think.
years ago.
But it was
opened 3 years
it was
ago.
a Frozen ride.
Oh yeah, that line is still super long. That's in Epcot.
God.
I was a little bit upset because that's in Norway, and that was the only like actual ride that
That's
was
there.
in like the World Showcase
Yeah,
part,
yeah.
not in the front of the park.
Exactly, yeah.
And I actually really liked that ride because it was like a little bit of history, but also like
Did
a
you
little
get to
bit
ride
of
it?
mythic. I never rode the Frozen one.
Okay, I
But
never
I rode
got to either.
I rode
the
it
one
was called
beforehand.
Maelstrom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we were I guess it was that senior trip, I think, is when it opened. And we were walking, we're like, oh cool, let's go check it out. And it was like from wait time estimated 1 hour 45 minutes, and we were like, fuck that.
Yeah, no, the wait time when I was there was like 4 hours. And I was like, if you think my ass is going to be sitting in this line for 4 hours, you're wrong. And we waited 4 hours in a line to get some food.
Yeah.
Oh,
Instead, just go ride freaking Test Track or Mission Space. Those are way
Test
better.
track is so much
Dude,
fun.
the remodeled Test Track is
it's
awesome.
great.
Create
What
your
was-
own car and
Yeah.
test it for speed and shit.
What was that one ride? I think it was like Space Mountain or something like that.
Runaway? Oh, wait, that's Six Flags.
No, what? No.
There is a Space Mountain.
yeah.
Yeah, there is a Space Mountain. I at one point when we went over there, because it was me, my dad, and I think my cousin. We were over there in Disney World, or was it Disney World? I don't remember where it is
Yeah,
located.
yeah, Space
Okay.
Mountain is in.
Yeah, Magic Kingdom.
But we were, because it was nighttime, and it was just like, the boys, we chilling.
The boys.
Without any kids with us. So we're like, man, let's just go on the Space Mountain thing. And Space Mountain had like 3 or 4 different tracks you could take.
Yeah.
So we were like, we want to ride each of these, but we're not going to wait in this like 1 hour line.
Each
So
time.
we
Did you hop in the single rider line?
we had the fast track.
Oh, yeah, fast passes,
Fast
yeah.
passes. And so the thing is that while the regular line was completely full of people, fast pass was literally straight to the ride. You wait maybe 5 minutes and then you're on the ride. So we did that the first time, and people were like clapping. They're like, "Oh yeah!" Right? They're all hyping us up. And some people were giving us high fives along the way too. It honestly felt like you just won a race or some shit. You were running down the finish line for something. And so we got on the ride. We went through it, and we were like, "Holy shit, that was fun! Let's go do the other 3." So then we went back through the line. Same thing. People started clapping again. They're like, "Yeah!" Seeing us again.
How many times could you use the fast pass?
You can use
Because
they-
Fast
they
Passes
changed
that
it now.
Oh, really?
They
Yeah.
completely changed the
Because
way
Fast
Passes
Passes a while ago when I went, it was that you signed up for a certain time
Yeah,
and you
that's
could
how it
do
is
it
now.
once.
Yeah.
No, for us, when we went, I don't remember how young I was when I went there, but fast passes were just the thing that you could like go in the line and go through.
Yeah, that's when
That
it was
sounds
worth
that
buying.
sounds like
Yeah.
more what Universal does now. Because
That's-
Universal's
yeah.
Fast Pass is like unlimited.
Really?
Show them your paper.
Yeah.
You get to go. And
Yeah,
basically
that's
do the
basically
entire line.
what old fast pass was.
I absolutely
for.
hate the way that they have it now at Disney, where it's the one where you have to schedule like a specific time to go to the ride.
Yeah, because people like us would abuse the line over and
Yes,
over
and that's
again.
the problem.
Yeah.
And also it's because like with how like powerful the Fast Pass was, so many people were buying it that,
That
it was just essentially
basically a
another
normal
line.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I totally understand that they had to make it where you schedule the time,
Yeah.
but it was just it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Because like I think isn't Six Flags changing their pass to something sort of like that now?
I don't
I
know.
think because theirs was like Universal too, where you could just basically skip
unlimited,
the line
yeah.
unlimited.
But yeah, so we were going down that line. By the 3rd time we went down the line, we heard some groans because then people were like, "Holy shit! How many times are these people gonna ride this ride?" And then we went through it the last time, and people were just straight up like booing us.
Get out of here!
To die here or live long enough to see yourself again.
Oh, that's fucking amazing.
Oh god, it was so funny.
Goddamn.
Seeing all that shit happen was great.
Dude, you want to know what's not funny? Getting into Test Track and waiting an hour in the line just for the ride to break down right before you got on.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
them say, sorry, we don't know when it's going to get back. Come back in maybe 3 hours.
Hey, at least you weren't.
And
on
they
the
gave
line.
us a fast pass for 3 hours later. And we came back and it was still broken down. And by that point, we were like, fuck it, we're going to a different park because
Yeah.
we had park hopper passes.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, I couldn't even imagine going to Disney World just for one park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
it-
can't. You have
This-
to go to the other ones.
I haven't gone since I was like 5. There's 5 different parks, right?
I think
There's
it's,
okay, so there's Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and
I think there's one more.
Universal? Is that one? or
no,
is that,
no,
is
Universal is
that
separate.
Hollywood?
So there's
Oh, okay.
Animal, Magic, Epcot, Hollywood Studios,
Maybe there is
and
only
then
4.
I guess are there only 4?
Huh.
I feel like I'm forgetting one.
No,
Yeah, I feel
I
like
think-
there's one more.
I think there's one more.
But
I know that there are 2 water parks.
But well, I completely forgot what I was gonna say.
Let's see.
It was about the ride breaking down. Oh, I don't know if I had mentioned this before. But you know the Titan at Six Flags.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was.
No,
Wait,
there
like
are only
Orange
4.
one, right?
There's only 4.
Only
Oh,
4.
okay.
Old
That's
Titan?
the big orange one?
Yeah, that's the
Is
one
it-
that's right next
is
to the
it
giant.
the old Titan or is it the new? Or wait, no.
No, it
What
was
the
Texas
one I-
Giant that
Texas
got,
Giant.
It's
fucked
so
me up.
it's so much better now.
It was so
thank
rough
God.
before. It was ridiculous.
Well, because they used to have, for those who don't know, the Texas Giant at Six Flags Over Texas was one of 2 completely wooden roller coasters. I think the other one is the Judge Roy Scream.
Yeah, which I
but
loved that one.
but it was so bad to the point where the track was rickety that you would be bouncing around the whole time, and for whatever reason, even though it didn't have a super big drop, it had over the shoulder bars, so your head would be bobbling back and
Yeah,
forth on them,
I
and
got
it
such a bad
sucked.
headache from that. I hated that ride. I
yeah,
told
that
myself
one-
I'd never go back there ever.
But they redid it, and they redid all the tracks and whatnot, and made the rails like a nicer, like newer metal. So
Thank
it's
God.
They also
it's
made
super
it taller.
smooth. It now holds the record, I believe, for the steepest drop of a wooden roller coaster in the entire world.
Nice.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Because that drops steep,
that. Yeah.
and it's so much better than it was.
And there's
God.
been like 3 deaths on it already.
Yeah. My sister went yesterday, actually, and they ended up kicking 2 people off, and she said they weren't fat or anything. They were, like, above average height, or I say above average. They were tall black men, and they were just so tall and kind of built, the lap bars wouldn't go down, and my
Yeah.
sister's like, they had to have tightened the
no,
amount that
they
it
did.
that it goes down after that one woman died like 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, because
Yeah.
now, like, it used to just, every time I go, it's like there's another seatbelt I have to put on that thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, it's not like the ride is super unsafe. It never was in the first place. It's just, there was a very large woman that got on the ride, and they couldn't put the bar down. And so I think it was on one of the turns, she just fell out of the coaster.
Ooh.
Like, she just fell out and she died, like, when she hit the ground. Because I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming she hit some rails on the way down. But so now they have like one that goes over, I think, and then you have
you have an actual. My sister said you have 2 lap bars, one that pulls down on either side.
Yeah.
and then a
and then a
seat belt.
seatbelt. Yeah.
So that way, if one goes up because it's kind of covering half of you, you still have like part of you
Yeah.
locked down,
Yeah.
and you have a seatbelt too.
Yeah.
So it's a lot safer now, and it wasn't like it was ever unsafe, like you said.
just let someone who
Yeah.
was a little
Yeah,
too-
you have to be careful
built.
about your fat ass on a roller coaster. Apparently,
But
Yeah.
you know what? That won't stop my dad from every time, every roller coaster, he'll go like 2 clicks, like up. That way he can lift himself up and hang out the side.
Oh
like,
my
hang
God.
Out the front. And we go in the front seat, so he's just hanging
Oh,
off the front of the
jeez.
coaster.
your dad's a
Every
maniac.
time, a maniac, a madman. I tell him
Absolute mad
every
lad.
time, if he dies, I better be in his will. No,
No, I used to have like not panic attacks, but I used to be super scared of the Titan because it's so steep.
Oh, yeah.
And I was little when I rode it, and I was a skinny twig when I was little. The lap
boy.
bar wouldn't go down enough that I felt locked down, and when we would go off that drop, I would rise out of my seat and,
And
my
you
knees would hit
pissed
the
your
bar,
pants.
and I was like, I don't want to die, and would like pull myself back. Not that I would have gone out because I was tall, so my knees stopped myself, but I was like,
Yeah.
fuck.
So one of the or what I was gonna originally mention about the Titan was me and my cousin, it was like when we had just turned like 13, 14, like something like that. But we were finally allowed to roam around the park on our own, like without going with my parents. So we decided that the first thing we were gonna do was go on the Titan.
Yeah.
So we go over there, we wait in the long line, we finally get up there, we get in the very front seat, front. And it starts going up. And as we're like about to be at the top, right? Like we start to like go up just a little bit, then the ride breaks down.
Oh,
Like
no.
so the ride breaks down as like we're diagonal, right? Because we're still going
Yeah.
uphill. So like all the weight is just pushing me into the seat. So I feel super heavy.
Yeah.
Like in the seat.
As you would.
The ride was broken down for long enough that I fell asleep.
Oh my god.
What?
I woke up to the drop. Because I didn't wake. My cousin, I guess, did not wake me up when the ride started.
Did you actually piss your pants?
I was so fucking scared. That is the
God.
scariest moment in my life. Waking up. You know when you like think, like you dream about falling? No,
Yeah.
I woke up to falling.
Oh my god.
That was the most terrifying moment I think ever.
think the only thing that could have made that more terrifying is you were having a dream where you fall,
And then I wake up to fall.
You're actually falling.
That was
You
oh
just
my
scream
god.
that much harder.
And now, like, I don't know what it is, but it's gotten to the point where, like, the older I get, the less G-force I can take. I don't know if it's, like, I don't know what it is. Something like...
It's definitely something in your brain, probably just aging
Yeah.
a little too
It's
quickly
also,
for you.
as you get older, you get taller, and the taller you get, the more susceptible you are.
Yeah.
Because I almost pass out on the Titan every
Yes,
time.
yes, yeah. And
It's
so
that
now I
one.
almost
It's that
pass
one
out.
like
When you
sideways
go to-
corkscrew.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Uh,
it's like 4 or 5 loops of just constant G-force, and your eyes just
Yeah, it's just
tunnel.
black. It's just... the blackness
Yeah.
just absorbs. I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna die.
I don't have that problem, actually.
Yeah, I
Really?
haven't been to like a park in a couple years, but I've never had that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
But
We need to go.
I
Well,
have
we
a-
went. No, we
No,
went.
it's been a few years.
Oh, yeah,
since we've been to
it's
Six
probably
Flags.
been like 2 years.
Like
huh?
I think the biggest problem for me, I have low blood pressure.
and
I'm tall.
That would do
Yeah.
it.
So low
That would
blood
do
pressure
it.
plus tall means. I mean, I still love roller coasters, but fuck, I can only do the Titan
Yeah.
like once or twice, maybe.
Yeah.
Because
No, that shit's brutal.
I have not actually blacked out. My entire vision has gone black, but I was still conscious.
Yeah.
It's
That must
so
have been
bad.
terrifying.
Yeah, that
dude.
sounds-
I have, because when I was in 8th grade, I had some heart problems, which the doctor said, stop drinking so much caffeine, you fucking idiot.
So you drank more caffeine.
Yeah.
as a
No, I
response.
actually for an entire year I went on completely caffeine-free sodas.
Wow.
Nice.
How'd that
yeah.
go?
Absolutely.
It was
it
fine,
awful?
and I've been fine since. But the closest thing I can attribute to the Titan is actually passing out. Because have you guys ever like actually passed out?
Yes, I have once before.
I have not.
So I was
One time.
sitting. I was sitting in my living room where we have our TV, and my sister was like, "Hey, I need you to reach up and get this DVD out of the cabinet." So, stupid me hopped up and immediately put my arms above my head.
Goodbye.
And next thing I knew, I was on the ground and my sister was screaming, and I had knocked over a vase and it had shattered. And I was like, "What?
you got bodied.
What happened?" And my sister's like, "I think you passed out." And I was like, "Fuck," because all I remember is reaching up, feeling lightheaded, and then I was on the ground with my sister screaming, and I was like, "What the fuck
Yeah.
happened?"
Holy
Apparently, I was
shit.
only out for like 3 seconds, just
Yeah.
enough for me to hit the ground and then to kind of wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But fuck.
So like
terrifying.
one time I almost passed out due to heat exhaustion while I was at a baseball practice. And like I remember this. I'm sure my dad will probably remember this also, but like so we were in the middle of practice and there was a like they threw the ball to me, but like as they were throwing the ball to me, like my vision just fucking like
Just smack you in the
like,
head.
and then my ears started ringing. And so I ducked. I just dropped and I ducked and I started yelling, "I can't see." Like I just started yelling, "I can't see," because like I didn't fully pass out, but I was so lightheaded, my ears were like ringing. It was super hard to
You
hear.
essentially just your eyes and ears shut off.
Your
I was
sensories were just like, goodbye.
I blacked out without blacking out.
Yeah.
And so my dad like runs over and he like brings me over to like the side and he just pours water all over me to like cool me down.
Yeah.
And then I like drank an entire water bottle and then like my vision slowly started coming back. And that was a super scary moment for me. But the one time that I did pass out, I had woken up for school, you know, as every person does every now and then.
I
And
never
then you
wake up for
immediately
school.
went back to sleep.
Yeah.
And that was
And
your passing out
so
story.
I got up. I was like, I'm so tired. No, I got up almost the same as you. I got up really quickly because I was like, great day. And then I went up to stretch.
And then you're just on the ground.
It just the same thing. Vision just engulfs, and I woke up on the ground, and I was like, how did I get here? And I was like, maybe it's not going to be a great day. But yeah, and now I get headaches all the time.
What about you, James?
Yeah,
You
when
got
did
passing
you
out
black
stories?
out?
Mine's similar to Connor's. My dumbass would, whenever I woke up in the morning, I would just shoot up. I'd shoot straight up. And then I would feel very,
Yeah,
lightheaded.
yeah, uneasy.
I just did this like every other morning for some reason until one day I was walking out of my room into the kitchen and I just blacked out there. Fell on the floor.
Were your parents? Did your parents?
Yeah, my
see you?
sister was there, I think.
Did you hit your head or anything?
Which-
No,
Oh,
thankfully.
that's good at least.
Little sister or bigger sister?
Big sister.
Okay, so about this blacking out thing. There's one time my dad blacked out, and we left him on the ground for an hour.
What the fuck?
Let me explain. So me and my sister, he was cooking dinner. Me and my sister were sitting at the bar downstairs. You guys know, and you know we were just chilling. And my dad, he had a migraine all day, and he took like a bunch of medicine for his head and whatnot. But while he was walking out of the kitchen, he hit his shoulder on the side.
Oh,
and whenever he
yeah.
hit his shoulder, I guess he just like instantly like blacked out or something. But he spun, he did a circle, he fell, and he hit his mouth on the edge of the marble like by the fireplace, and he chipped his tooth. We didn't realize. We thought he was trying to pull a prank on us. We thought he was joking because he's done this before. He joked about this before, and so we left him on the ground. And we were like, is he going to finish this fucking dinner? Like, as he's just laying on the ground. And once we realized, oh, you know what? Maybe it's not a joke. we went to him, and he woke up, and, you know, he was fine, other than him bleeding out of his mouth.
Yeah,
he had a
Did the
chipped
blood
tooth.
not like pull up
No,
after a while?
it wasn't a lot of blood.
Okay.
I don't think. I can't remember. Honestly, like, Dad, if you're listening, like, tell me. Like, what the hell happened there? But... yeah, I know that was definitely like one of the craziest things. But what I was gonna say before we get too off topic about the Six Flags rides with like death and whatnot, you guys see that one woman who was on the Superman ride and one of the wires got loose and while it was dropping, it sliced her foot off.
Oh.
Ooh.
What? When
Yeah.
did this happen?
This was like
No, I don't know this at all.
like 7 years ago, I think, something like that. If you look it up,
I'm gonna
yeah.
Google this right now because
So,
holy fuck.
Yeah, her foot got cut off. And
That's gonna
like
get a yikes
that's
Just
from
a
me.
clean.
like
Our
off.
foot.
Like it's just gone.
Did she like bleed to death or?
No, she
Here we
lived.
go.
She
Okay.
lived.
It was in
Good.
Kentucky.
Ah, was it?
A girl's feet were cut off Thursday when a free fall thrill ride manufactured at Six Flags Kentucky malfunctioned. Cord wrapped around the 16-year-old's feet and severed them at her ankles while she was on the Superman Tower of Power.
Yeah.
God.
Can you imagine?
The people on the ride just came and hit the ground, she said. When I got there, and the lady, she was just sitting there and she didn't have any legs. She was just there, calm, probably in shock from everything.
That's
Damn.
crazy. Can you
Like,
imagine?
honestly, she was probably like I know it sounds kind of weird to say it, but honestly, that ride probably stopped her from screaming, not because of shock, but adrenaline also super dulls any of your pain
Oh,
senses.
yeah. You're in shock
So,
at that point.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where if she hadn't been dropping, if she was not being dropped from such a high altitude,
Yeah.
she would be screaming in pain and
Yeah.
not that
Yeah.
calm of a
Was
situation.
she
100%.
unconscious when she got to the bottom?
No.
Or-
No, she
I don't
wouldn't
think
be.
so.
No.
She wouldn't.
Yeah,
be.
she was.
That must-
She'd still be like rushing. She
Yeah.
just looks down. Her feet are gone.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the
How'd
pain
she
can't
get it?
sensitive-
How'd she
imagine,
walk
though.
off the ride?
Yeah, guys, I should go home.
She went into the walk-on riders and left in a wheelchair. God, we're
Six-
fucking awful people. Jesus Christ.
I just hope Six Flags paid for some badass robot legs.
So yeah, good transition.
Oh,
there.
here we
Damn.
go.
That's why I brought this story up. So in the case of in the future when cybernetic upgrades are a thing, whether you lost a limb in an accident or you just think maybe I want a new limb, would you get an upgrade?
Depends how expensive it
I,
is.
I told this to you when we last had this discussion, but my answer was I would wait because I don't want to be the test dummy for something going
Yeah,
wrong.
like a
but
beta tester.
afterwards, yeah, for sure. Like I like for example, better eyesight.
Yeah.
Like who doesn't want cybernetically enhanced eyes and just a HUD?
Yeah.
And that goes like,
Come on
this
now.
is this player's HP.
Yeah, like come on now. I want to see my
I
HP.
feel like the novelty of that would wear off super quick,
It
and you would
probably
be
would.
tired of it.
I don't
It
know.
probably
But
would,
if,
but also just in general enhancements to like, for example, if I don't have to wear contacts anymore, I don't have to worry about upkeeping on glasses. Contacts.
LASIK forehead.
yeah.
Yeah, that's like
That's expensive.
that. Not only is it expensive, it's like worrisome.
Yeah.
Like
It's
what
a
if I
relatively
die?
safe procedure.
I know, but like fine.
But enhanced cybernetics are cooler.
Yes, but also, with that, new laws would have to be made.
Of course.
Yeah,
but-
100%,
Meaning
100%.
you probably wouldn't ever be able to play sports with anybody, or
Oh,
I don't
Or
know. I
game-
think
I-
I
no,
think they
no, no,
would
no, no.
have
Professionally.
a. I think they'd
think-
have a more competitive
Yeah,
side, like just
like-
for people with cybernetic upgrades.
But also,
like
it
the Special
depends-
Olympics.
Yeah,
It depends on the enhancements you get as well. Like if you just have better eyesight, that wouldn't stop you from like playing basketball necessarily.
well, unless it's
It-
like throw at this velocity.
Well, yeah,
like-
yeah. But I just mean like getting 20/20 vision.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Well,
like
then,
getting
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like like if you're just getting quality of life upgrades to become
Like night vision.
to make up for your deficiencies or,
Yeah.
or
I,
that-
I feel like if I were to ever get something like cybernetically augmented, I'd want it to be as close to a human analog as possible.
yeah.
That's
If
fair.
I lose an arm, I don't want to be walking around with a metal robotic looking arm.
Yeah.
I want it to look
Well,
like
that's-
have you ever seen the movie iRobot?
Yes.
It's like Will Smith's arm where he
Yeah.
sprays on the liquid fucking skin.
See, okay, as cool as that is, like that's super cool. Like I would totally want, I think I would want my arm to look like a normal arm. But then I see people with robot arms, and I'm like, that looks badass. Like that looks cool.
Well, again, it's what Connor said.
Yeah.
The novelty eventually will
It's
probably
like a-
become just normal.
Yeah.
It's like when
yeah.
you're young and you're like, damn, I really want this sick ass sleeve tattoo. And then you get older and you're like, what the fuck
Yeah.
was I thinking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's fair. That's fair.
Looks down at all the tribal on my arm and I'm like, ugh.
But with the cost of it, this is assuming that it's like affordable.
Yeah.
Like to the
We're at a
point where
it's
it,
common technology.
yeah, like the more advanced stuff is still super expensive, but like the lower end
Yeah.
cybernetic
Just get a
stuff is
stick.
going to be
I
like
can do that today. Actually, just get a stick.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just get a plunger,
Just a
toilet
plunger.
plunger, stick it on, put a stick in there, and go, yeah!
So I know I mentioned this, or I brought this up as well, but like, how far do you think we're going to allow cybernetics to go before it's like maybe we should not?
Here's the-
like,
Well, James, you go
Yeah, I
first.
don't think it would matter too much until you start messing around with the brain or the head.
which
like
we're doing right now.
we are.
Yeah, I mentioned this. Elon Musk is making a chip that is so tiny that it's not allowed to be installed by a human, but it's a special machine that sews the thread like into certain nerves in your brain to the point where it's like literally connected to your brain. And so what it's for, what he's trying to use it for right now is to like use it to like if you have any like deficiencies or something, then that will it'll go through the chip and correct the senses, like the
So,
sensors
like,
or whatever.
for example, if you're like a paraplegic, you'll be able to be fully functional. again.
Yeah.
And that
So
type
it
of stuff.
essentially stops deficiencies in the brain through nerve signals.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
it's not necessarily that it stops deficiencies.
Well,
I feel
it
like it more
corrects.
bridges
Yeah,
the gap.
yeah,
Corrects
because-
is, I think corrects is what I
Yeah,
was
because
more going for.
because for those of people who don't know, the nervous system is very, very delicate within the human.
Very delicate.
Yeah.
Like you could, the reason why the human body can repair so well is just because of the amount of cells that you have for that. But nerve cells are very, I guess
They're very rare.
Yeah,
Very limited.
which is why stem cell research is so looked
prominent.
into.
Yeah,
But also people are like, stem cells are bad because they're from unborn fetuses. And
I mean that's not even necessarily the case. Right? It can be from the umbilical cord and stuff.
It's a big part of why people don't want to,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
stem
'cause
cells are
it's part of
found
babies,
predominantly
yeah.
in
Yeah.
fetuses.
Which like it's like without like all the political side of things, if you think about it this way, right? If we need stem cells to like keep people functional and whatnot,
yeah.
we are overpopulated.
Jesus,
No,
I like
like-
where this is going.
All right.
No. I'm not saying like
No. I know, but right now, just for a disclaimer, this is purely keeping morale out of the
yes,
question.
yeah,
Like, jeez.
like
Hey, we'll pay you
Not-
$50,000 for your baby so we can harvest stem
People-
cells.
I'm not
People
saying
have-
completely take all of the baby stem cells. We can take a few stem cells and have the baby still be a normal functioning
yeah,
baby.
they'll just lose a pinky.
They'll just lose, there'll be something a little bit wrong with them.
They can get a robot
You know?
pinky.
Yeah, they get a
Bored.
robot pinky. Come on now.
Just
But-
use the stem cells you harvest to grow a new one.
Yeah, what the hell?
But
It's self-sufficient. Fucking do it, forehead.
But yeah, no. So back to the chip.
yeah.
What Elon Musk had said was that he wants to get the chip to the point where you could, if you had it, then you can interact with some technology with your mind, essentially. So, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hacker.
No.
Hacker
man. Just like a
Technomancer? Was
Huh?
that the word I used? Technomancer?
Yeah, some sort of like technomancer type thing.
So you're basically main character in Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
Yes. So essentially, yeah.
Except you don't use your phone, you use your mind.
You use your mind, your
But-
fucking mega mind, dude.
That's where it goes
Big
into the
brain.
whole how far are we willing to go? Because
So-
if so many people have this chip
The
to the
deal-
point where you can like just hack someone's phone or like look at something or like like just control
So-
things with your mind.
So here's the thing, and here's the predominant issue. I didn't bring it up last time, but we know that computers aren't necessarily smarter than humans, but they are able to bring up information a shit ton faster, which makes it seem as though they are smarter.
They
right?
also
Through
have
that
a
kind of
nearly
phase.
limitless
Memory storage.
Yeah, exactly.
Because-
Because you can always expand it. You
Yeah.
can't.
So
Because like try to remember what you had for breakfast 2 weeks ago.
yeah, like no, that's not
A
happening.
computer could bring that up instantly just because it has all
Yeah.
that
Yeah, it has the
depth.
data.
We have
So-
so much stimulus going on through our brain that everything
Yeah.
is lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the point I'm trying to make here is that even if there was a cutoff point at someone said this is enough, we're not doing this anymore. We're gonna leave it here. This like section of the chip can be used for public use. This is gonna be reserved for like private companies, and then this is just strictly reserved for military. And this very small portion that's like total control is gonna be reserved for like the government, right?
Yeah.
And then the problem is that doesn't matter because people with the public access to the chip even can just bring up all the data they need in an instant and then begin to work hacking. Like you brought it up last time, but there was like some code that humans were like, dude, we can't crack this even if we had 1,000,000 years.
Yeah.
But a computer cracked that shit in 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like also with I brought up that we had I think I may have mentioned it before. I don't know if you guys have read the article, but Google had put two AIs.
you told me this.
They made two AIs. They were trying to like test out this new like super advanced whatever. Oh, sorry. And so like they put them like together and they made it where they were talking to each other, and in about like I think 5 minutes they started talking in their own language.
Yeah.
Like they started creating their own language and talking in
And
that.
then they shut them down.
They
after that.
they shut off the AI because they couldn't understand what they were saying, and they were like, "What the fuck is this?" So like,
AI too smart.
yeah, and like I know I mentioned it before, but Stephen Hawking said that like AI is going to surpass humans by
Yeah.
like 2025 or something like that, which I could totally see happening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's a matter of will humanity be able to peacefully coexist with AI, or AI
Or
just gonna be
will-
like, hey, goodbye.
See,
Or will
that's-
humanity, Jesus Christ, or will humanity even tolerate that type of AI being created?
See, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
whole morality part, and even if they do, like, then it goes into like the whole like Overwatch
Playing
thing, like,
God thing.
like what kind of rights will robots have?
Yeah.
Because if it gets to the point where they're like they'll have emotions, because I know I had mentioned this before, but there's a new series on YouTube called like AI Systems or something like that.
Yeah.
But Robert Downey Jr. is the host of the show. And he he brings up Jarvis and whatnot all the time, but there is this guy who is trying his best to create an AI that can act like a human, sort of like how they're doing with Sword Art Online in the most recent season.
Yeah.
How they're like making the AI but like raising them like a kid. So he has the whole like system set up where it looks through the webcam and it hears through the mic. And it's a picture, like it's a 3D model of his daughter, like his baby daughter, and it is legitimately learning. Like they have made this AI brain, and it is working almost functionally like a regular human brain, where he held up like a spider and was like, "What is this?" And it would say like in a baby voice, it would be like, "Oh, like a spider," and then he'd be like he'd say "boo" and like move it towards the camera, and it would start crying. Like as if it was scared of the spider.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, it's okay. And he like sang to it and then it stopped crying. And he was like, what's this? And he held up like a rubber duck. And it was like, that's a duck. And it's like, that's so insane. Like that's going to happen. But like, if it gets to the point where AI is super smart and they have emotions, like what kind of laws are we going to have that get like, what do they have rights? Like, I would say that they would need rights.
The question is, what separates living from non-living?
Yeah,
See,
that's where we start getting
think-
into that question.
It would transition more from, well, I don't know, like, this is all, like, technology that's way beyond us at this point, but, like, transferring a human to, like, a robotic mind.
So,
Yeah.
like,
I feel like that's
Chappie.
where it would start.
No, there's another movie, and I can't remember what it was.
Chappie?
No, Johnny Depp was in it.
Oh.
Where he died but sent his consciousness. Origin?
Was it?
think
It was
I
just
know
like
what
a
you're talking
supercomputer, right? That he had
Yeah,
like in
he
the
sent
desert.
he sent his consciousness into a supercomputer. Hold on, let me see.
I feel like the closest thing that like the most like logical thing that way that it would happen was how it happened in Chappie, but obviously
Which
Transcendence. That's what it's called.
Transcendence.
one? Chappie.
Chappie was like the robot that the guy had made that like had like it was learning. It was this exact situation, but then like its body was too damaged.
Yeah.
And then like his creator, the robot's creator, he got spoilers. He got shot at the end of the movie and he was bleeding out, and so the robot like brought him over to the thing and put the helmet on and transferred his consciousness into a robot body.
Okay. Yeah. I do remember this movie.
Yeah, and he was like holy shit, like it worked because he couldn't get it to work, but since the robot was so much smarter, he
Yeah.
ended up getting it to work.
Yeah.
But it also goes in with the fact that like a lot of people are good with, like robots can't feel, like
Yeah.
AI can't feel anything. But then you look at what we have now with VR technology.
Yeah.
We now have like I don't know if you saw them, the haptic gloves, where you can now like it will feed you like certain
Information.
so that it actually feels like you can feel the texture of whatever you're feeling in the game.
Yeah.
You can feel resistance and whatnot.
Yeah, and like
It's
the haptic gloves
really
are
crazy.
very expensive and they're really bulky, like really big. But
Yeah.
like let's say, down the line at this point, if we have where the AIs can feel emotions, I'm assuming that they will have feelings like at that point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but the question is, where is the line drawn between real feelings and artificial feelings? What's programmed and what's not? Because if an AI is programmed to feel a certain way, it's not actual emotion. It's just their circuits telling them, "Hey, this stimulus happened. Here's your response."
Like back
Well-
to the robot daughter you're talking about. I was just wondering how much of that he like scripted.
yeah, no, I
'Cause, like,
totally agreed that it could
yeah.
be
He
scripted.
He definitely
100%.
wanted to like
Show it
present it,
off,
as
yeah.
So he's like, all right, when I show the spider,
Like,
they'll
have
react
this reaction,
scared.
yeah.
Well,
'Cause-
here's the thing though, and probably the most interesting part that you're kind of like overlooking is that humans are literally the same way. You are presented with the stimulus, and your brain tells you to react a certain
Yeah.
way based off of how you were raised.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
tell that to the population.
Yeah.
And
No,
see
I know.
how they
No,
respond.
trust
Yeah.
me. Trust me. I'm aware that not everyone obviously is going to take that news the same way. There's and like those movies and video games where it's like people are revolting against the AI, stealing their jobs and just straight existing. Those are very real reactions that are definitely 100% going to be happening.
Yeah, because I mean, robots are already stealing our jobs.
And it
Yeah.
it all goes back to organic versus inorganic.
Yeah.
Because what makes humans human is that they are organic and can think for themselves. But when you transfer it into an AI or take an AI that can think and feel,
Yeah.
what's stopping people from saying you're not organic, you don't actually know how to feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just your programming.
Yeah.
So it's weird, and I'll kind of loop back a little bit to the previous question where it was at what point do we stop cybernetic enhancements?
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I think it needs to stop when human limitation is achieved.
That's
Because
fair.
if it goes
Yeah.
past human limitation,
Then shit is gonna
chaos
get
is
fucked.
going to ensue.
Yeah.
Which, like, we already know it's gonna surpass. Like,
Yeah.
like there's
But-
nothing we can do to stop the government from just like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Working
pressing
on it
play
behind
on
the
this
scenes.
AI.
It's,
Like,
it's going to get to the point where people won't fight wars.
yeah, which like I'm down
Is
for.
terrifying.
Well, you
Because
think,
if you have a
think you're down
robot
for it?
army,
Yeah,
They won't
if
distinguish between soldier and civilian.
they won't. They're just going to be programmed to kill, probably. And when an army of invading robots comes to your city and you can't kill them,
and then the enemy hacks your robots, and now all those robots are against
Fucking
your.
Arthur Watts.
Hey, wow! I heard this plot
Yeah.
before.
If this is a situation where we're still in control of these robots, I imagine, unless most countries would have to install some sort of software to make it only kill soldiers. Otherwise, that's a lot of war crimes.
No.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a whole lot of
something
James.
tells me some countries don't care about war
Yeah.
crimes. 'Cause,
Yeah, and also war crimes are only defined by the winners of the war. Like,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So,
No,
like,
I
if you
think I
if you
agree.
can get away, if you can win a war by committing a ton of war crimes, you can just say,
We did what we had
yeah,
to."
we did what we had to make us win.
And you also have to kind of be a part of the UN and the Geneva Convention. And
Yeah.
if you aren't part of that, it technically doesn't apply to you.
I
but
understand
people
that.
will deem you war criminals and will try
But
to
I
kill
feel
you.
like, it's going to be first world countries developing this first.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Yeah.
it will get to the, other countries, but...
And to go on from that, World War III, Iran pulled out of their nuclear deal.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What nuclear?
no.
It's Iran, isn't it? I'm not stupid. Because
they
Iran.
bombed
They-
Iraq, I think, but they
No,
killed an
we-
Iranian leader.
Yes, and Iran swore they pulled
Harsh
out.
revenge.
They pulled out of their no nuclear weapons deal. Apparently,
Oh, okay. So
I
yeah,
read
this is
something
what I
like
had
that.
mentioned before. I didn't say it on the podcast, but like with all this, right? Like, if I really doubt it's gonna happen, but if for some reason we actually went to battle, right, and it ended up becoming a war, there's hands down gonna be nukes thrown,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
without a doubt.
I-
Like
I
I
was
know
even-
They have
we are
access to
itching to
nukes.
use it.
They will fire, and we will have to fire in retaliation.
So
Which then opens the world up to World War III, which is going to be a nuclear winter.
which will be the end of everything.
Yes,
The-
nuclear winters are no joke. I was writing a story about kind of like a nuclear wasteland and people picking up the pieces, and I did a little bit of research, and like if only a couple countries fire all their nukes, like the world is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
nukes are not anything to be messed
and
with.
we don't even know how big the newer nukes like can be because
Yeah.
the last like nuke that we've seen was
It
what
got, like,
in
a
action was Fat Man and Little Boy.
Yeah.
which we've like probably tripled at this
Yeah,
point.
because those
Yeah.
were the first atomic
Yeah.
bombs.
Yeah.
So like
So
that's just crazy.
and over the years we've only been stockpiling as
Yeah.
well as other countries
And
have been stockpiling.
Not only that, but like you guys know about the super volcano under Yellowstone.
Yeah, that was supposed to erupt like 20,000 years
it
ago
could erupt at any time.
at
yeah.
any point, and the
Yeah.
ash of it would cover.
Almost the entire United States.
Yeah.
And the problem is that it's not just normal ash, that's volcanic ash.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you know, but if you inhale volcanic ash, it turns to cement in your
Oh.
So
when you breathe it
think
in.
of Pompeii. Remember when that volcano exploded? Like I visited Pompeii, and
really?
it's not pretty.
Yeah, no. So
yeah.
that ash, wherever it covered, anyone that's in there, you're dead.
Unless
Because they're gonna be
That
suffocated
ash
on
is
the ash.
because it was from a volcano. Probably still boiling hot.
Yeah.
So if it covers you, you're going to burn to death.
Yeah.
Like so.
You'd have to be in a bunker with like industrial grade gas mask
Yeah.
and not go outside for a good couple days.
And that's the
Maybe a
problem,
year.
is that if we have a nuclear war and a nuke happens to explode at a right location that you could then
that could
set
set
off
off
the
the
volcano.
volcano.
Literally, that's it.
Yeah,
like there's
that's it for the
nothing we can do.
US.
Not even the U.S. Like
No,
more than
I mean,
that.
I think the Yellowstone supervolcano can cover an entire hemisphere
like
Oh, that's good.
that's
in ash.
terrifying.
That's great.
Can I just?
We're
can
all
you
dead.
like wait?
Yeah,
Can you just
so,
wait till I'm dead?
So basically, welcome back to the Fearmonger podcast.
I just need Cyberpunk to come out
Yes.
before all this happens.
yeah. Honestly,
I need to beat Cyberpunk. I'm definitely never gonna 100% that game, but I need to at least try.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have listened to the podcast. I don't know. I think you were on it at the time, but I mentioned to you before that whenever Cyberpunk comes out, that I want to like have whoever's playing set up next to each other.
Yeah.
Because I want all of us to play it at the same time and see how each person's stories like diverge into like different branches.
It's a very long game. That's gonna be.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying like.
Yeah, no,
I'm just
but,
saying
like-
for like the first session.
Yeah.
And then we'll like do our own thing and then we'll regroup at the end. I'm not saying like every time like you
Yeah.
can't play until we're all together.
Yeah.
Like
Play on a
not that
different
type of
save
thing.
file.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. I know the ending, faggots.
Yeah, like not that. Like
That's
none of
probably
that.
getting bleeped. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
But like, also in coincidence with that idea, I was also saying that my friend recently bought like a computer that's pretty much a gaming machine. It's like a office machine, but it has a few things that are downgraded, but it's overall still a gaming machine. And it had like a 5 terabyte hard drive. Why was that?
Yeah, are you having a
Words
stroke?
cannot leave.
Deep breath, Amal. Deep breath.
Anyways, what I was saying was that and he got it for like $300. So, but the thing is that some of that stuff was unplugged in the machine, and they had to go inside and fix it. So he was saying that either they lowered the price because they didn't just bother to open the machine up and plug everything in and fix it properly, or that they were trying to get more money out of you by saying, "Oh yeah, these parts aren't in here, so we had to install new parts. Here, take. We need like $1,000 or $2,000
Yeah.
to amp up the cost a little bit." But what I was thinking is that I get a ton of those computers in the house somewhere, and we get people over and we just play like a modded Minecraft or something
That'd be
to that
super
effect,
fun.
like on super heavy machines.
Yeah.
All in the
So
same room, and we try and kill each other.
Like a Minecraft Hunger Games.
Minecraft Hunger Games, but modded mode.
I
You don't die.
had asked, or I brought this up. I brought this option up. James, you said last podcast that one of your goals in 2020 was to move out.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I had brought up the idea to Kenny that we, instead of having the podcast room in this room, we then move it to the one that's downstairs, like that dining room area.
Yeah.
Which would then free up this room. So if everybody was down, I was gonna say, James, if you wanted to move in with us,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
I mean,
that would be
yeah,
cool.
Hell yeah, but I didn't. I guess this isn't talk for the podcast, but I need to like see a preview of what.
Oh yeah,
builds
no,
would
I
be
got
and
you.
all
I'll
that.
totally show you after the
Yeah,
podcast.
no,
and everything.
100%. But shit, yeah, no.
But
I'm
yeah, I
down
just
for
wanted to
that.
bring that up
Holy
because
shit,
I
man.
was gonna forget about it. But yeah, so there's that. Get your goal out of the way for 2020.
All right.
We'll
Yeah, now you can be lazy.
Yeah, we'll
piece of
definitely
shit.
try that. So yeah, what were we saying before? Yes, the modded Minecraft.
Oh yeah, modded Minecraft, because a lot of those mod packs, probably some people who are listening play modded Minecraft.
I'd hope
But,
so.
Yeah. But RL Craft is probably like the most prominent one out there, but there are a ton that are just super fun. Like at one point, I was playing with a bunch of friends, and these friends of mine are little bitches, and they got mad at me because I ended up playing this one mod through called Astral Sorcery, and you could make a sword infused with the power of basically the space.
What?
So I got the sword and I was like, man, I wonder how much damage this does. Because you know how Minecraft has that little description where it's like, oh, this has this much attack damage.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, no way I put in all this effort for like an iron sword, right?
Yeah.
Or a stone sword. So I walk up to one of my friends, I smack him like someone would
Did
do
it
with a
spawn
normal
a black
sword.
hole?
Oh, it didn't spawn a black hole. But it one-shot him, and he was wearing some of the best armor in the game. And so he looked it up. There were only 2 entities in the game, in the mod pack that we were playing, that this sword could not one-shot. One was something called a Chaos Dragon, and it was like one of the strongest creatures to like ever exist in the mod
two-shot it?
community. No, I don't know what it was that he said gave it like some sort of immunity against it.
Oh, gotcha.
The second one is player characters who are wearing a wyvern set of armor, and you guys don't know what wyvern armor is. So let me just say, take diamond armor, right? Because you guys just play normal Minecraft, right?
For the
Yeah.
most part.
Take diamond armor, put like protection 5 on all of that stuff, or protection 6, whatever your max protection level is. Amp that up to like 20, like multiply it by 20, and then put a shield around it that basically is impenetrable for as long as you have energy stored within it.
Got you.
That's basically wyvern armor. And the only reason the sword can't one-shot you while you're wearing that is because of the shield.
Yeah.
Not because of the armor rating that the armor itself has.
So I think the only so my computer's shit. Like it obviously, as you guys have seen throughout the past things. So I definitely need to get a new one. But the only modded Minecraft that I was able to get working and functional was, I think, Crazy Craft,
Crazy crap.
which already has like 120 something mods in it. It adds like superhero armor and all that. It adds like Godzilla and everything in the game.
Oh, okay. So kind of just like a superhero world type thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. And so, like the most crazy thing that I had there was having like all of the Superman armor and just being able to just fly in survival and like just fly through enemies and like kill them. But I never ended up like beating the like big bad boy in that pack because I could never get it working on a server, so I was only able to play it alone, and I just like, as much fun as it was, I would get bored playing it alone.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like, yeah, I really want to try RL Craft though.
Yeah.
I don't think my computer can
is-
handle it right
RL
now.
Craft is fun. I'm thinking of putting my computer down to get a newer one. Unfortunately, that is not a cheap task. So until I get the money to save up for that, on top of paying rent here, obviously. But if once I get that, I'll just keep the computer around, and that can be kind of like the community computer.
Yeah,
while
that'd
I
be
have
dope.
mine in the. And I gave Kenny, I think, my Alienware box or something
really?
like that. So he said he couldn't get it to work, but once he moves over here, I can probably set
get
that
it
thing up.
Yeah, he got a new Surface for Christmas.
yeah.
Sam got him a Surface Pro.
Nice.
I
Been
think.
using it D&D.
Yeah.
So.
I haven't seen it, but I love the way Surfaces look.
Yeah.
Like, they always look sexy.
I
Okay.
also use this. Yep.
Oh no, go ahead. Finish
No, I
your
was just gonna
sentence.
say I also use this.
Oh,
Surface.
really?
It's pretty good.
Speaking of friends and me saying how all my friends are bitchy, Ritsu.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So for those of you who don't, I have never spoken about Ritsu before. He's one of like my dark secrets that I don't like talking about.
I mean, I know you don't talk about him anymore. Do you want to call him by his name?
I genuinely don't know his name. So-
No. I mean, do you want to just
Oh.
refer to him as like a
An alias
different
and not
alias?
Ritsu.
No, because
It's too late now. He already says that.
I mean, Ritsu isn't his real name. It's part of his gamer tag, and he's not even on the platform that we played on anymore, so it's whatever. But we'll call him Ritsu, because even if he's listening, he knows what kind of person he is. So for those, let me give you a little context before I start some of these stories up, because I have a lot. Well, I don't have a lot, because most of them are just eventually his behavior became normal for me to kind of deal with. And honestly, me dealing with him on top of my already whiny and complaining friends, I genuinely thought this was normal, and people like James, who were super calm, abnormal, didn't exist, like, aside from him and if maybe the exceptional behavior. That's how bad this was. But so Ritsu, first of all, he is a brony. So for those of you who don't know what a brony is, do you know the show My Little Pony?
Are you talking about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic?
Yes, that one.
Dude, I love that show.
Get super close to the mic.
So Ritsu loved that show, but like more than like a kid would normally like that show. Like think of a weeb, and then apply it to My Little Pony. Like that's what a brony is, and he was a brony, and a hardcore brony. Like if you ever insulted it about him, he would go off on you. It was crazy. But he was a brony, and he's also a hardcore weeaboo as well. So two of the worst personalities you could ever have stacked on top of each other.
Together.
And on top of that, he acted just about exactly like you'd expect. He's really bitchy, whiny, complaining, and just really abrasive and blunt and aggressive. Not a fun guy to be around for the most part. But me being a 14-year-old angel with the patience of a god could manage to put up with him. I don't think James, could you put up with him very often?
I did. I played Smite with him and his e-girl. Yeah, I don't want to say any more names.
Yeah.
I already said Ritzy, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played Smite with them and we had fun. It definitely was awkward, and he got angry at that time.
Angry is an understatement. So let me preface the story with how I met Ritsu. So I knew this guy named Chris, and Chris was kind of already annoying, but he wasn't annoying. He was just annoying in the sense that he always wanted to play with you and be online and stuff.
Yeah. So
it wasn't like he was a bad dude. He was just, I guess, for looking for something to do. But I was on one day, and I played a card game called Magic the Gathering quite frequently back then. And I also had it on the Xbox. And on Xbox, there's pre-made decks. I won't go into all of them, but I will go into the slightly into the two I used. One was a black deck in which you use the color black in Magic. You basically use it to just kill people, right? Mm-hmm. You kill people and you sacrifice your own well-being to do it for just putting it in general terms. And then there was blue that I also used, which was basically you playing mind games with your opponent. Stopping them from enacting a plan, delaying their plans, making it so that they couldn't do anything, stuff like that. Those were my two favorite colors to play in Magic, and still kind of are. But anyways, Chris was also into this game along with Ritsu, and Ritsu was constantly beating Chris's ass in this game. So Chris, at one point, he just said, "Hey, I need you to come kick this dude's ass for me." I'm like, okay. So I go in, and we do pleasantries. We're like, oh, hey, I'm Ritsu. I'm like, oh, hey, I'm Amal. And we start playing the game. And it's pretty much just casual banter at this point. Nothing that would suggest Ritsu's an insane mental asylum patient yet. Uh-huh. And I beat him. And he's like, wow, you're really good at Magic. And I'm like, I'm really not. But okay. But so that was the start of our little friendship. And along the line, I introduced him to James and someone else. We'll call him Fat Man just because he genuinely is fat in real life, I guess. But that's just what he prefers to be called when not being referred to by his real name. But anyways, Ritsu is the focus of this story. So Ritsu, as I said before, very aggressive and abrasive. Anytime something wouldn't go his way, after a while, he would yell about it. The only time that I really started to realize he was a dick was when we were playing Diablo 3. So this was old school Diablo 3 before the loot patch came in that made it so that basically every enemy you kill drops a legendary. And this was on Xbox. I had gotten a legendary ring that just boosted all my stats to hell and back, right? I'm sitting there going, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. Mm-hmm. And, I'm playing with Fat Man at the time. So he goes, oh, here, let me see it. And I drop it for him. He picks it up and he's like, oh, wow, holy shit, this is a really cool ring. He drops it and gives it back to me. Ritsu goes, oh, hey, let me see it too. Ritsu takes it.
This is going.
And he's like, wow, this is really cool. And then he goes silent for a minute. And back then, this is like old Xbox days, right? Internet infrastructure isn't amazing or great and, whatever. I don't care. He disappears. And I go, what? Me and Fat Man are confused, so we wait around in the area that we were in for a little bit. And he comes back. And, I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, can I get my ring back so I can equip it? And he's like, oh, I don't have your ring. And I'm sitting there like, what'd you say to me? So I'm like, what? No, you literally put it in your inventory and looked at it. It shouldn't just have gone and disappeared. He's like, no, I just don't have it. It must have been something with my internet flickering out or something. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, you realize how unbelievable your excuse is right now. And I'm sitting there like, if you just wanted the ring, honestly, dude, this is just a fucking game. I don't care. Yeah. Right? I played this game because they wanted me to play. I didn't even find this game fun at the time. Uh-huh. So I didn't care about the loot. So if he just asked me, I genuinely would have given it to him. Yeah. And he just was like, no, it's gone. I don't have it. And I'm like, fucking suck my dick.
Is this something that you can kill him and take the loot back?
No. This is a game where it's purely cooperative, and the only place you can kill him is in a very specific destination that you have to warp
Got
to,
you.
and even if you kill them, they don't drop loot.
Dang.
So I'm like, okay, whatever, right? That's literally my response. And he's like, dude, I genuinely don't have it. And I'm thinking to myself, just keep digging your grave, bud.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized he was first a dick, and it just kept escalating from there. He would yell at me and Fat Man a lot, just for dumb stuff, you know. If, like, because in Diablo 3, there's no penalty if I die, right? And we were playing on a harder difficulty, and me being funny and stupid at the time, I'd run off and go get myself killed. And he's like, Amal, stay with us, right? In this very angry tone. And I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
Right, like, what the fuck are you gonna do, huh? Kick me out? I'll just go die somewhere else. So, that went on in that for a while, and eventually we all got to playing Smite, which you guys know very well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
and he, oh my god, this was a playground for Ritsu when it came to being angry and salty, because he would never shut up about this. If it wasn't our team that was doing something wrong, it was the enemy team that was just bothering him. Like, we could be playing a perfect game. Ritsu could be the only one off on our team, and even then, we'd be able to just be well anyways. And he would just keep yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling, and I'm sitting there like, I'm just gonna mute you for like 5 minutes. And I genuinely would do that, and I'd come back and he'd still be yelling, and I'm like, holy shit. And eventually it came to a head at one point, where this is where I really cut off connections, when I realized how awful of a person he was.
Mm-hmm.
Because before, I'm thinking to myself, you know, maybe if he just spends time with people who are calm, collected, he'll eventually become that. And boy, was I fucking misled in that thought process. But I was playing Terra with him.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was grinding by myself. And he and his e-girlfriend, as James said, at this point he had obtained. I'm sitting there like, this poor girl. I don't know if she knows what she's getting into. But anyways, we were playing. And she and him, for whatever reason, started arguing. I can't remember the specifics of the argument. But all I remember thinking is that, first of all, this is a stupid fucking argument. Like, why are you having this? The second thing was, don't have this argument in front of me, because I'm just going to think badly of whoever is on the aggressive side, because that's usually how it goes in arguments that you're a witness to. But the last thing that really drew the straw for me was Ritsu started calling his girlfriend bitch, bimbo, like fat cow, stuff like that. Just derogatory names. And I'm sitting there going, like, again, I'm thinking it's not my place to interject, right? This is a relationship couple thing. But fucking Ritsu just kept going off and off. And honestly, props to this girl for taking it well. Because she was just kind of sitting there silently. She was probably fuming. Yeah. But she was definitely taking it to the point where, like, you could in that type of situation. And eventually, the argument calmed down. He's like, no, you know what? I'm sorry, babe. You know, I shouldn't have said all of that. You know, eventually we'll
like
have
as
enough
if
money.
a single sorry's gonna
Yeah.
put a band-aid over all the shit that he just
Yeah,
said.
like you fucking shoot someone 20 times and you put a band-aid on a spot you didn't even shoot.
You're fine. It's okay, baby.
Why are
You're
you
not
mad
gonna
at
bleed
me?
out.
I apologize.
Yeah. Come on. I said I'm sorry.
What more do you want from me?
So he's like, yeah, you know, I'll have enough money. I'll move down and move in with you, and you know, we'll be able to live out, and we'll settle our stuff there. And I'm thinking to myself, you're not getting that far, right?
Yeah.
This girl's gonna cut you out immediately.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and then eventually he goes, "Oh, Amal, yeah, sorry you had to hear all that." And I can specifically remember that because you have no idea how jarred and infuriated I was when he said that. Because I'm just sitting there like, I want to physically annihilate you from this existence as soon as I can. But I'm just like, no, it's cool, dude. Anyway, I think I'm going to hop off.
Yeah.
I'm getting pretty tired.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
that's
like
a little
5 in
much.
the afternoon. Like, I'm just getting tired of video games. I got a headache. And I genuinely had a headache. And I logged off. I never talked to him for the rest of the, like, forever. The only time I ever got any, like, closure on that whole thing was I met up with one of the other dudes who was in our party a lot. Not James, but someone else. Who Ritsu berated a lot. And I was like, oh, hey, man, how's it going? And we played Smite for a little bit, and we just talked. And I asked how Ritsu and his e-girlfriend were doing. And he was like, oh, yeah, no, their relationship ended very violently.
Yeah,
only
that's not
imagine.
As
surprising.
violent as you can get online.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I expected that. And he's like, yeah, it's a soft spot for Ritsu, so if you ever see him again, do yourself a favor and don't bring it up.
Yeah. Fuck
And
all that, dude.
I eventually did meet up for Ritsu one last Magic game, and I, of course, asked about it because I'm
Yeah.
a nosy little shit. And he's just like, dude, I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's how you know he was in the wrong here.
Yeah.
When someone doesn't want to talk about how it ended, with someone who's been more or less friendly towards you for as far as you understand. But yeah, that's my story of Ritsu.
Well, yeah.
The biggest douchebag I've ever met in my life.
God damn.
Speaking of that ending, now we have to end the podcast.
Yeah, what a depressing note to end.
Yeah, I know. But it was good. It was good. I hope that, the new equipment is nice. Sounds all good and everything. So yeah, that'll be it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. And anything else you guys want to say?
Somebody in the closet?
Oh, is that someone in the closet? Oh,
On God?
oh my God! Hold on,
Is it Garrett?
Garrett.
Did he finally show up?
Yeah, I thought he couldn't make
Garrett?
it today.
Are you in the closet?
Yeah, I'm in the closet.
Hey guys, it's Garrett. I'm gay, and
So are you.
so are you. Hope you guys enjoyed. Love you all. Mwah. And good night.
Peace.
See
Goodbye.
ya.